Hey everyone, and welcome back as we continue our 28-day Acts challenge. Today we're looking at Acts chapter 14, so grab your Bible and come along with me. This is such an interesting story with Paul and Barnabas. This is what's going on. They are continuing to go from city to city telling the good news of Jesus Christ. And they get to the city of Lystra and Derbe. They get to these cities and they're telling the people of Jesus and all of the wonderful things and the good news of the death and resurrection of Christ. And they even heal a crippled man. Well, the people of Lystra and Derbe, they are excited about all of this good news, and they're excited about the miracle of healing this crippled man. However, they misunderstand a little bit about what's going on. In fact, when they encounter Paul and Barnabas, and they encounter the miracle that they have just done, they call Barnabas Zeus. You know, Zeus, the big Roman god. And they call Paul Hermes, which was the messenger god. And they call them Zeus and Hermes because they thought that these people, Paul and Barnabas, were gods sent down to earth. Uh-oh. A little confusing. So Paul and Barnabas, they say, no, we are mortals just like you, and we're here to tell you the good news of Jesus Christ. He tries so hard to get them to understand, but the people of Lystra and Derbe, they just don't. In fact, they go and gather sacrifices to offer to Paul and Barnabas because of the miracles that they performed. Uh-oh. Not quite exactly what they had in mind. And it gets a little more muddy too, because the Jewish people in that town were already frustrated with Barnabas and Paul. And so they show up and get really angry that suddenly there's this confusion and they're being offered sacrifice. They see that as taking advantage of the people, and they get really frustrated. And in fact, the Jewish people get so frustrated that they run Barnabas and Paul right out of town. They run them out of town, where Barnabas and Paul finally go back to Antioch, and they rest there for a few days. This is such an interesting story, and I've got a couple of questions to leave you with. So if you imagine yourself like the people of Lystra and Derbe, where in your life are you receiving so many messages that it's a little confusing to discern? And how then do you discern the truth? Another question I have for you, if you imagine yourself like the disciples, what is the time in your life that you have stood up for what you believed? And what was that like for you? Thanks for joining us as we travel during this Lenten season through the book of Acts. We'll see you tomorrow.